There is something special about waking up and knowing I get to spend time in my own wood shop. Today, we need to start getting rid of some scraps. I think this is the last week that I may turn the heater on because it's getting finally warmer here. But first, nothing better than the smell of fresh coffee. It's like a little slice of heaven in a cup. Today, I'm diving into a Lord of Rings-inspired arch door made from leftover walnut MDF that's taking too much space. I built this entire room from nothing a while back, and I also built this wall, and the plan was not to install a door. But after using it for a few months, the need for privacy grew. Oh, and I will leave you the link of this video on the description below if you want to check it out, the transformation. A few days ago, I did a big cleanup in my lumber and scrap storage, and now it looks so clean, but I also have tons of scraps that could not fit in a space. Instead of keeping a mess of wood in a wood shop or throwing away, I decided to build things and organize the house and the shop. So I hope you love Scrapwood projects because in the next few day videos, I'll be trying to come up with more ideas to get rid of them. Normally, when I do scrapwood projects or designs, I always like to use something as a backer, just like I did in an tray door. I'll leave you the link in the description too. I didn't have a backer big enough, so I will have to glue up two scraps together and make one. Remember, this project is far from conventional, and if you want to get rid of scraps, the best way is to not buy any lumber until you can use everything you have first. This is my goal. It may not look like much, but with a little creativity away from conventional, we are going to turn it into something magical. A door straight out of Middle Earth. Of course, this door will be modern. Here I am taking the scraps so I can lay on my backer and see what I like and how much I need for this project and trying to come up with some random pattern. Then I took the plywood to the arch to get the arch template. I took the entire thing because I thought it was the most accurate way since I built this arch to be an organic, which means the arch is not perfect, but it's almost. Then I used the jigsaw to cut the arch and I ended up with this small arch that gave me another idea for my shop, another scrapwood project that I need. The track saw I used to cut the straight lines. This project was complicated to make it good, like the older cabinet door, because the door was pretty heavy for me to go inside and do test fit. So I had to figure out in the shop, and to me, I like to take measurements from the real piece, which was impossible for me working alone. This part here, I could do in a few different ways. I could add edge banding or any other type of edge material for this to hide this MDF. But my husband wants the inside of the door black and the inside of the arch is also black. So we decided to paint this edge black as well. So it was time for me to start cutting the walnut and come up with the pattern. I just used my miter saw to make the cuts and I flipped the board to cut all the way. I laid a pattern before I attached it and just make sure I like and everything. But if you don't want to do like me, you probably want to write down the pattern that you like so later on you can remember how to install them. But I forgot to do this part, so but it's okay. Everything went fine in the end. While I was working on this project, I was writing down things that could make my life easier in the shop. And the first thing is definitely build a good size workbench, besides to get rid of my extra scraps and trying to find a place for things that doesn't have a place. And this is how the extra scrap is going to do for me. So I'm very excited that the next project is going to be, I'm going to be building my workbench, and I cannot wait to start working on higher bench right now because this little table, this plastic table, is not doing good for me. Before I attach them, I decided to cut the hole in the middle where it's going to be the gap for the handles. Remember the fireplace situation? Yes, so this gap we want to add for safety, and when I install the door, I will also have the gap all the way around. I want to share that in my last video, I got so close to hit my first 1,000 subscribers, and I want to thank you those that hit the subscribe button and got me close. If you are not subscribed yet, I would love to have you here. Thank you so much for being here. While the door is gluing, my metal saw is doing okay with the dust after I install a new dust port, but when I cut MDF or forgot to turn on my dust extractor, the dust make a mess on the left side, so I decided to use the arch cutout and decide to build a hood, and I hope that works. Then back to the door. I flip over and cut the excess with the jigsaw, and I decide to try this router bit kit that my husband got for me for Christmas. I need to say I was very skeptical using this because it was an expensive set, but I'm very impressed with the performance. And I use my flush trim bit to trim it out the excess and make everything nice and even. Then I cut the door in the middle, and I have to say truck saw was probably the best invention in woodworking. Then I finish doing the trim, flush trim bits all the way around. Here I'm getting ready to glue the door pulls, and it will be a circle, and the inside will be walnut and the outside will be maple. So it will be like a half circle for each side. I'm going to cut in the middle, and then when you close the door, it's supposed to be a circle. While the door handles was gluing, I was taking care of the door, sanding, add with the filler, and then sand again to, hide the gaps. And when I sand vinyl, I never go lower than 120, and sometimes I even start with 180. At this point, I decide to paint the black parts of the door, the sides and the inside, because I need to glue the handles in both sides. So I thought start with the black part would be a better decision. And I also was able to paint the hood of my mother saw. It looks great. Using my favorite circle jig. This jig allows you to cut the circle without making a hole in the center. But I honestly didn't think I would need this feature to cut the handles, which was a mistake and you'll see later on. Also, I decided to cut the entire circle using the router all the way because I have a project to do this with the leftover and I will show later on in another video. But on the maple was a little bit thicker, so I had to use my flush trim bit and end to, make the circle perfect, just like an eighth of an inch. In my last video, I got some questions about this jig, and it's made by an amazing woodworker that inspires me every day. It's a woman, better yet. This jig does way more than cutting circles, and I will leave the link of her video where she explains everything about it, and if you want, check it out for yourself. I had an idea to make this door a little bit more Lord of Ring inspired. If you're familiar with the movie, there is a tree on the movie called the White Tree of Gondor. I decided to hand engrave the tree, and it was my first time doing this, and I absolutely love it. I wanted the handles to be a little bit more organic and a little bit more rustic, I guess, and that was a perfect idea that I had to add some character on this project. And now you see why I should not make the hole in the center with the drill when I cut the circle. And if you ask me if I tried to fix the mistake, no, I didn't. This mistake will remind me every single day when I open the door to stop being lazy when I'm doing my projects. To attach the handles, I decided to use dowels, and my dowels are ugly, so in the end I painted black. And I hope that glue up will be good enough and will last. I didn't think in any other way because I want the gap, so the dowels will provide the gap for the piece. And having two bulky handles in both sides, I couldn't think any other way. What would you do different? Like, would you use dowels or something else? Comment below. I would love to see your answer. In this video, I'm not showing the door installation. It was a pain to install, but I used the heavy duty doors handles. I added a trim on the arch, painted black to blend, and like a normal door, I installed three hinges, and I still need to finish the baseboards. I used general finish for this project. I only added two coats, and I finished with wax, like always.